My name is John Passfield. I'm going to read from my novel Eleonora Duse, Let Me Have My Wings. The title of this reading will be Eleonora Duse, Video 15, Duse's Dream, Nightmares. Here's the cover of the novel, Eleonora Duse, Let Me Have My Wings, a novel by John Passfield, and a photograph of the historical Eleonora Duse. Here's a summary on the back of the novel. Eleonora Duse spent her whole career producing, directing, and acting in the great female roles of the theatrical repertoire. She claims that when she's not on stage, she does not exist. A poet publishes a novel in which an aging actress's only role is to be a young poet's muse. The publication of the novel is a crisis for Duse, as the fictional portrait of a pathetic, clinging female threatens to fill the void and become her personal myth in the public mind. But her greatest fear is that the imagery of the poet's book will alter the way she thinks of herself. We all enjoy dreams. We all suffer from nightmares. Sometimes we can't tell which is which. A dream-nightmare, a dream nightmare, is an event in imagery which is imaginary as it takes place entirely in the mind. Its potential value is that it might yield thematic parallels to the events of our actual lives. There are 7 dream nightmares in the mind of Eleonora Duse, of which I will read 5. So let's look at the first one then, page 36 in the novel. Here we are. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Just clearing my throat here. Sarah and I on the same stage. This has never happened before. We are playing in the same role. She speaks a line, and then I speak the same. She strikes a pose and delivers a line in the grandest style, and then I speak my line in the simplest way. About a page of imagery later, in the audience are all the reviewers from all the cities that we have played. Reviewers to whom Sarah has given countless interviews. Reviewers whose invitations I have always refused. I recognize the theater, the gilded boxes, the chandeliers. Sarah has invited me to act on her personal stage. Then a few pages of imagery later, am I Sarah? Is she me? Am I not Sarah? Is Sarah not me? We are drawn together by each of us speaking the same lines, the lines that Dumas Fils has written for us to say. We are kept apart by the way we speak our lines. How can two people be so different, so the same? So that's Eleonora Duse dreaming subconsciously, as we all dream, but she's dreaming of her greatest rival, Sarah Bernhardt, trying to figure out the relationship and what the imagery of that relationship can tell her about the rest of her whole life. Let's go to the second one, page 52 in this case. Okay, this is a different dream nightmare in her subconscious mind. The remnants of a banquet. Laughter rang so long ago. The perfection of the painting. I sat so still while in my prime. The windows all have shutters. There are locks that bar the door. Then about a page later, a page of imagery later, I call the servants to the entrance, the faithful hands that bring me food. I've decided to reverse my orders. I no longer wish to be confined. Remove the nails from the windows. Remove the locks from the door. Bring me a mirror that I might see what I have become. And then about a page and a half of imagery later, a quiet voice then whispers, "This is not for us to do. You have warned us of this day, my mistress. Every servant took a vow. We must never remove the shutters. We must never unbar the door. Our mistress's orders must be followed. The orders that you gave while in your prime. And that's the third installment of that particular dream nightmare. Let's look at another dream nightmare. We'll go to page 86 for this one. Here we are. So these dream nightmares are spread throughout the 50,000 words of imagery of the thoughts of the main character, and she hopes they're subconscious. She might not even know of them, but hopefully they're there to illuminate the other imagery of her life, of her everyday life. I climb the highest mountain. I seek the wisest man. The climb is long and tiring. I pause for bread and wine. The wise man sits on a dais. I bow and seek my boon. I ask him to eradicate my fears. Page later. Your fears, alas, can never be destroyed, but from your fears you can separate yourself. Put your fears in a bubble. Put the bubble in the river. The bubble will flow to the ocean. Your fears will evaporate and fall to the earth as rain. And then about a page later, a page of imagery later, we have this, the third installment of this dream nightmare. I bow and turn to leave, but the wise man speaks again. Next, you must separate yourself. Put yourself in a bubble. Sit in the bubble. Do not move. Do not think. Do not breathe. Eat no bread and drink no wine for the rest of your life. Well, that's a dream nightmare. And let's move on to another one then, page 102. You can see they're spread out through her thoughts. I'm sitting in a theater in heaven. I'm the only one in the room. I can come here any time that I care to. I can watch my entire life, every word I've ever spoken, every person I've ever known. I can watch my entire life from beginning to end. Page later. My days in heaven are long and thoughtful. I can sit and watch my life. As I watch my life, I know what I know now. Many times I've tried to watch it. I have never watched to the end. I've only watched until I'm Juliet. Now that's drawing on imagery from other parts of the novel, from other elements in her life, the Juliet experience. And the third installment of that particular dream nightmare. Many times I flinch. Many, many times I flinch. I have tried to watch my life many times. There are no rules in heaven. I am never forced to watch. I could go on and never look back at what has been. Or I can watch as many times as I care to try. And that's the end of that dream nightmare. Let's look at the last one that I'm going to read in this video reading. It's 120. And I just have to find it here. Yeah, here it is. It is the moment of my birth. My mother is thinking out loud. This is my daughter, Eleonora. She is an infant newly born. I pray for her sun to rise each morning. I pray for her sun to set at eve. I pray that her seeds of hope will flourish throughout her day. And a page later, the second installment of this dream nightmare. It is the moment of my giving birth. I am thinking out loud. This is my daughter, Enrichetta. She is an infant, newly born. I pray for her sun to rise each morning. I pray for her sun to set at eve. I pray that her seeds of hope will flourish throughout her day. And then the third installment, page and a half later of imagery, it's this. It is the moment that I am in now. I am sitting in my apartment. I'm looking out my window on the Grand Canal. What if I were to think out loud? What are the words that I would say? Why should my sun come up at dawn? Why should my sun go down at eve? What is the moment at which I should aim throughout the day? Well, that's the last of the dream nightmares that I'm going to read in this reading. Here's a note that I'd like to read, though. Excuse me once again. It has been said that the first great exploratory quest of the human being was to explore the furthest corners of the planet. And the second great quest of the human being was, and still is, to explore the vast and seemingly limitless reaches of outer space. Well, this is fine, but these are physical quests, and the speculations that fuel these quests tend to provide answers which become commonplaces to later generations of humankind. The great quest, the one that has been taking place during these historical quest eras and is taking place now and will take place as long as humans are on this earth or on any other planet to which we might move, is the quest of the exploration of the human mind. And unlike the physical historical quests, what is found there does not become commonplace to future generations. Now, this is due to two reasons. That the mind is of greater complexity than anything that we have found in the physical world, and that the instrument that we have found to be the best for mind exploration has been literature. Literature as a search instrument never ceases to explore. It never reaches the last island in the sea or the last planet in the cosmos. It is as fresh as the baby lying in the crib, each baby having a new complex mindscape for that new human and his or her fellow humans to explore, to speculate about, in wonder or in fear. And just as we keep revising the design of our sailing ships and our spaceships as we explore the physical world and universe, so we keep updating the art forms which our literature aids us in our quest to explore the human mind. So, once again, this is the novel, Eleonora Duse, Let Me Have My Wings, a novel by John Passfield. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it at Rocks Mills Press, R-O-C-K-S, MILLSPRESS.com. That's my publisher's website. There's information there. johnpassfield.ca, johnpassfield.ca. A planning notebook is there for free access, in which I work my way through the writing of the novel. A journal is there in which I reflect on the novel and novels in general, and poetic novels as well, as I'm polishing the rough draft of the novel. So have a look there at johnpassfield.ca if you're interested. And lastly, I'll just say thank you for watching this novel.